Hello, my name is Craig Perkins. If I had to really specify a moment that changed my life, it'd probably be in November of 2009. My best friend Bart had been living with us since he was 14. His parents kicked him out and they didn't really want him. He had a history of mental illnesses and physical problems as well. He was a great person, but at the same time, he was into a lot of bad stuff. And back then, though I professed to be saved, I was still quite lost, and I was in a lot of turmoil because of some circumstances that had happened previous in my life. So every time he was drinking and every time he was doing drugs, I was right there with him. Just about all the stories of bad things I've done in my life begin with, well, that one time Bart and I, dot, dot, dot. But through it all, he never left. He was always there. He was the big brother that I never had. I adored him. He was my best friend in the whole world. He had a wife that he had 2 kids with, and then they got a divorce. And he moved back in with my mom. And he was 19 years old. And they got into it, and him and his ex-wife decided that they didn't want to be together. And eventually, she decided that she couldn't handle raising the kids, so she gave them up to social services. And that really hurt Bart because he loved his kids. They were everything to him. Really, they were the only thing that kept him going. That night was probably the saddest I'd ever seen him. The next day, I didn't see him all day, even though he had a room down in the basement. But it wasn't uncommon for him to leave his room through the back door that was in the basement and go somewhere. So we just thought he was gone. My mom came and told me to go see if Bart was okay. And I went downstairs, and I remember trying to see in the dark, and I couldn't see anything, and feeling for the light switch, and I couldn't find the light switch. He had it dangling from the ceiling. And I moved my hands around on his bed and was trying to grab his leg to shake him awake. And I grabbed his foot. And I still remember how cold he was. And how stiff his body was. He had purposefully chewed up morphine patches. Because life wasn't worth living without his children. I lost my best friend and my brother that day. And for a long time, I was depressed and suicidal. And I just felt like he had abandoned me. He had left me here. But then I realized my life wasn't over. That I didn't have to waste my life doing drugs and drinking. I realized from his mistakes that I had to wake up. I had to do something with my life. So, about 2 months after his death, I signed up for Job Corps. And I succeeded. I made Bart proud. And I wonder what he'd be like today if he was still here. the lives he could impact by his story, and that reminds me that my story is not that different from his, and that I have a testimony, not just a story. I miss Bart, but I live every day for the both of us.